Good afternoon, everyone. So happy to see so many of you here on our Zoom platform, but also on our Facebook page. May I just remind everyone before we kick off that we are streaming this event live on Facebook through the Weave Consulting Facebook page, but also on our ASTRA page. So just for the benefit of those who are with us here and will be also participating in the discussion, just a reminder about that, but also later on that when we go into the FAQs and in the networking part, we will stop the live session and we will continue the conversation just between us participants. So my name is Roberta Lepre. I am the founder and managing director of Weave Consulting. We are the lead partners in this project, but my colleague will speak a little bit more about Weave Consulting later on. And we are really happy to be presenting the first public event for our ASTRA project. So those of you who have been following our work might be already familiar with ASTRA because we actually had an initial round for this project. It was a national project with national funding, but this year is a little bit more special because we're actually adding a cross-border dimension to our project, and that is also thanks to the support and the funding that we have received from the Erasmus program of the European Union. Now, if you are not familiar with this program, I do suggest you look it up. There are national agencies across the different European countries who can help you understand the program and also guide you on how you can participate, because it is a really, really good tool. So back to the ASTRA project. So why the ASTRA project? We will be delving deeper into this question, looking at the actual data, the actual statistics, but just in a nutshell, the idea, the concept for ASTRA was really born as a sort of proposed solution to a problem that we have as a country, as a continent, and also globally, which is the fact that despite a lot of progress which has happened in the sphere of gender equality in Malta, but also in other countries, when we break down the data, we see that we are still lacking female participation in decision-making positions, especially in the business sphere. So essentially, why is this a problem at the end of the day? It is a problem, of course, because we value equality, we value diversity, but even looking at it purely from a business point of view, because we are tackling specifically gender equality in the economic sphere, in the business sphere, we know, because there is quite a substantial body of research, we do know that at the end of the day, diversity in decision-making creates better outcomes. So there's research from the Catalyst, there's research from Credit Suisse, there's McKinsey, and they all show a clear link between diversity in decision-making and also inclusive policies within the place of work and better performance, including financial performance. So at the end of the day, if we want to have better businesses, better organizations, it pays us to promote diversity within the workplace. So this is really and truly the thinking and the motive behind our project, and it also links to the Sustainable Development Goals, specifically goal number 5, which is gender equality. So that's just a little bit of an introduction about the why for this project. And I now move on to introduce my colleagues, my partners in this project. I do invite you to switch on your cameras. We are seeing here Isotta Rossoni, who is my colleague at Weave Consulting. Elena, may I ask you to switch on your camera, and Rossana? Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, both of you. And we'll also be joined by Julian Dingley from Core Platform very soon. I know he's taken up on another conference, but he will be joining us very soon. They are also partners in this project. Last but not least, I'd like Elida to come in and say hello. Elida is an intern with us at Weave Consulting, and she has been doing excellent work assisting both myself and Isotta with this project. And I really want to take the opportunity to thank you as well, Elida. Thank you for your help. Okay, so I pass the word now to Isotta, who will be introducing the project partners and then also delving deeper into the gender equality gap, both in Malta and in Italy. We're focusing on Malta and Italy because they are the project partners. And then we will also share more detail about the program in itself and how one can participate in this program. So to you, Isotta.
Thanks, Roberta. Hi, everyone. Welcome. I know we've asked you to keep your videos off, but I hope everybody's having a lovely day. And thank you very much for being here today for this event. I'm just going to share my screen so that I can show you my slides. Bear with me for a second while I do that. Okay. Here we go. So I'm not sure whether we've mentioned this already, but for the sake of clarity, I think it's helpful to know that the ASTRA acronym stands for Aiding and Supporting Women to Trust Their Potential, Reach Their Goals, and Achieve Their Career Objectives. Roberta has already hinted to what the project is about and what our main objectives are, as well as what are the needs that stemmed from which it stemmed. But I'm going to delve a little bit deeper into this in the next few minutes. However, before I do that, I would like to introduce our project partners officially. This is obviously us, Weave Consulting, a boutique consultancy firm. It focuses on the ESGs and sustainable development and is the lead partner in the project. We also have our partners from Italy, who are Centro Estero Internalizzazione Piemonte, and perhaps Rossana, you would like to say a couple of words to introduce your organization.
Yes, yeah, thank you, Isotta. My name is Rossana Bernardini. I'm responsible for the training and consultancy department of the Piemonte agency. Our agency is, of course, partner of the project, and basically we are a company supporting our local enterprises to develop their affairs abroad. So through a wide range of activities and services, such as fairs, exhibitions, missions abroad, training programs, consultancy support, and so on. We are basically a branch of the public institutions of our region, which is Piemonte region. And our stakeholders are basically the Piemonte region, the Union of the Chambers of Commerce, the group of local chambers of commerce in each province of the region, and the universities. We try to offer services in order to help especially very small and medium-sized companies to internationalize their activities. And in particular, we accepted to enter this consortium and the project since we have developed in past years a lot of activities and projects also financed by national and international funds in order to support women at work and female entrepreneurship. So this is very important for us to carry this opportunity in our region and to give a useful pattern, a useful path to our local companies, small companies, in order to reach the objectives that our partners have already advanced. So welcome to the project and welcome to our activities. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Rossana. And then, of course, another partner in the project is Core Platform, and I'm not sure whether Julian joined us already or not, but in any case, if he wants to add a couple of words later on about his organization, he's most welcome to. However, just in a nutshell, Core Platform focuses on CSR, on corporate social responsibility, as well as corporate citizenship, and is very much involved in networking and promoting knowledge exchange and mutual learning among like-minded organizations, civil society, but also the private sector. So as was anticipated, gender equality is very much at the heart of this project. And we have focused on Italy and Malta because the organizations that are represented in the consortium belong to these countries, but also because we feel that gender equality gaps in Italy and Malta are very similar and need to be attended to. So based on international data, and this is data by the International Labour Organization, the current global labour force participation rate for women is 47%, while for men it is currently 72%. So you can see immediately that the figures show a difference of 25 percentage points, and in some parts of the world, those percentage points actually go up to 50. So there are parts of the world where there is a larger gap. When it comes to the countries represented in this project, the gender gap is a little bit lower than the global average. We see here Malta represented, where the gender gap is estimated to be 18.3 between men and women in the workforce. We see that male representation is at over 70%, while female representation is around 53%. Sorry. When it comes to Italy, the gender gap appears to be a little bit lower. I'm not going to delve into this too much because Elena, our colleague from CHAPE, will soon provide more information about the situation in Italy. But as you can see, the gender gap is also present in Italy with a substantial difference between female participation and male participation rates. Clearly, in all countries, no matter the level of economic development, so whether they're developing countries or not, what is really key is a woman's personal preference in terms of determining whether or not she will decide to engage in paid work. Of course, this preference is very much influenced by a range of factors, and I think we're all very much aware of existing socio-economic constraints, for instance, family constraints, and so on. But also, what is interesting in terms of personal preference is that a recent study by the ILO in collaboration with Gallup, this was a study run in 2016, asked women from all over the world, developed countries, developing countries, however we want to define them, to choose to say, actually to state whether they would prefer to be involved in paid work, they would prefer to stay at home and engage in their caring responsibilities, or they would prefer to do both. And actually a stark 70% all around the world, no matter the cultural differences, said that they would prefer to engage in paid work. So what's really happening here? There are clearly barriers to accessing the labor market in the first place. And a lot of international data tells us that women are generally working in lower paid jobs and in lower quality jobs, which also exposes them to a wider range, a larger range of vulnerabilities. These jobs are generally more precarious and they are paid less, which also contributes to broadening the existing gaps that exist between men and women in the labor market. There are also these persistent challenges, which again exist all around the world in their own specificities. There are gender roles in terms of expectations, in terms of women's decisions as to whether or not to participate in the labor force, so that we've seen that there is a large amount of women who would really like to engage in paid work and perhaps for a number of different reasons are unable to do so. But when it comes to gender roles, things like motherhood, for instance, and perceptions of what constitutes or not a good mother, how a woman should behave, how much time a woman should spend with her kids, obviously may influence decisions over entering the labor force, as well as when it comes to, for instance, relationships, the kind of support that they receive from their partners. There's work-family balance, which seems to be an ongoing concern, although there are many women who have managed to really find a great balance when it comes to work and family. Again, this also depends on partners, on existing support networks, and so on, as well as lack of affordable care and lack of transport. And these two last factors are very much affected by the context that we're looking at. However, in any country around the world, despite the contingencies, the specificities, these remain significant barriers. The World Economic Forum has been arguing for a very long time that closing the gender gap, a way to close the gender gap, involves engaging more women in leadership. And this is very much at the core of the ASTRA project. So here I have two graphs for you. One shows the proportion of female hires by industry between 2007 and 2017. And we see that in most industries, apart from some that have been pretty static over the years, there has been a growth in terms of women who have been hired. On the right-hand side, you will also see a graph about the proportion of women hired into leadership roles versus non-leadership roles by industry. So you can see the blue line is leadership roles and the pink one is non-leadership roles. And I think the graph is quite self-explanatory in that sense. What the World Economic Forum found through its research, and as Roberta mentioned earlier, there are quite a few organizations that are conducting meaningful research in this area, and the World Economic Forum is one of them, is that women represent fewer than 50% in every industry analyzed. In some fields like energy and mining or manufacturing, the representation of women is lower, and women hold fewer than 20% of leadership positions. What is interesting and what emerged in another piece of research that was produced by the World Economic Forum is that there are sectors in which women actually do hold leadership positions. And these are three main sectors emerged in the research. These were healthcare, education, and the nonprofit sector. And of course, it is heartwarming and encouraging that there are women in leadership in these sectors, but these are also sectors that are generally paid less, where women are generally paid less than in other sectors. So we still see that even though there are some promising developments, there are still existing gaps that need to be overcome. Over the past decade, in general, the proportion of female leaders has increased, but it has increased by an average of just over 2%, which is a low average, as you can imagine. When we look at Malta, and I've just added 2 arrows on the left so you can focus on two items that are particularly relevant for us. This is data from the Global Gender Gap Report. We can see that the labor force participation rate, the first item, well, the overall rank for Malta is 85th out of 146 countries, and you can find more information about this report online. But we can see that the labor force participation rate is, and the first item shows a gap of 18.33 in this case, so more or less in line with the data I showed you earlier. And you can see on the right-hand side the differences between female and male participation, but there's also a very interesting item concerning estimated earned income. And we see here, again, on the right, the differences between the female and male estimated earned income, which is quite substantial. This is data concerning political empowerment, because the global gender gap report normally rests on several dimensions, and political empowerment is one of them. And here you can see, again, very stark differences between the percentage of women in parliament and the rates of men in parliament, women in ministerial positions, and years with female or male heads of state. I'm going to pass on to Elena for the section on Italy.
Okay, thank you, Isotta. So I'll try to give you an outline of the situation of the gender gap in Italy, which is not so different from the situation of Malta, as Isotta has explained us. Here, I refer to the Gender Equality Index, which is measured by the European Institute for Gender Equality. The average European score is 68 out of 100. And you see that Italy is 4 points below this average score, just after Malta. So Italy rank 14th among the 27 European countries. We have to say that in the last 10 years, there was an increase in the Gender Equality Index. So we have improved our situation by around 10 points since 2010. But in the last 4 years, the situation has stopped. I mean, this increase in process has stopped. You can see that the best-in-class countries in Europe are the Northern European, but we have also two Mediterranean countries like France and Spain. Can we move to next slide? Thank you. Now we can have a look to the composition of the gender equality score. It is considered on 6 fields, 6 spheres: the world of employment, the economic situation. Money means equality between men and women from a financial and economic point of view. Knowledge refers to education, attainment, and university careers. Time concerns the work-family balance, that is to say, the time allocated to household and care family care services. Power refers to decision-making in both economic, political, and social fields. Health concerns the access to health services. So we can see that Italy has its best performance in health and economic access to equality. But we can see which are the big barriers we have in our country. So can I ask to move to next slide so we can have in detail? As regards the sphere of power, we can say that Italy has improved the most in this domain, especially in the economic decision making. You see, in 10 years, we have increased by 27 points. It is especially the economic and the entrepreneurial sector which has improved this success. As regards the world of job, we have to say that we have most room for improvement because we have a very low participation rate of women at work. And here we have to say that we rank last among all the European countries. And the last negative aspect concerns the field of knowledge. And here we have to say that Italy did a step backwards because the situation has become worse in the last years. Here we have a large gender discrimination in education and university careers. That is to say that we have too many women who are segregated in, for example, in career such as education, health, humanities studies, arts, and we have very few women in technology, scientific, and engineering world. Can we go to further? Here, just to give you more details on the first of our big problem, which is the official employment rate of women. These data are from our statistical institute. We have 53 women working against 72 men, considering the age between 20 and 64. This means that we have not even reached the goal of the Lisbon Agenda for 2010, which assumed us to reach at least 60% of employment. The situation is very different between north and south of Italy, but also between large cities and inland areas. Here we have, among the data, we have a positive data concerning the presence of women in boards of directors of large companies. You have, you see 39%, and in fact here we had the best performance, and this was due to the introduction of a law in 2011 which introduced compulsory pink quotes in the boards of directors of organizations. Can we go further? Okay, this is just a game. You can find it on the web. It is a tool web which give you an idea of what happens if you are born in a country or in another. So we can say that a woman born in Italy has less opportunity to become a parliament member, has more chances to work less years than a man, but has more chances to achieve a university degree than a man. So women study more and have a higher education degree, but they work less. And it is 60 times more likely to do housework every day compared to men. Let's go on, please. Of course, this gender inequality depends also on many other factors, because all women are different. And for example, also facts like age, disability, country of birth, family type can increase this gender discrimination. So for example, a migrant woman with disability may face discrimination on 3 levels. Okay, here we have the second big problem of the Italian situation, that is the professional and education segregation. Isotta has already spoken about it at a world level. Here we see that we have too many women, for example, in care tasks and in we can say in traditional fields such as also communication, marketing, and education. And while all the STEM area, for STEM we mean the area of scientific, technology, engineering, and math. So the STEM areas is completely dominated by men, and also the area of new technologies. This is also due to stereotypes, to cultural stereotypes, which push women to a certain career rather than another. I think we have, okay. Of course, we have to consider that since the future, the development of our economy will be focused on STEM and new technology. Let's think about, for example, the green revolution and the investment of recovery fund. We have, of course, we need to help women to enter massively in the world of these new technologies. To do this, we have to empower women, and we know that women empowerment is a multi-factor because it implies self-representation, awareness of one's own value, but also self-esteem and self-efficacy. And we know that sometimes there are some weak points in women. And of course, empowerment implies also a vision, but also the ability, the capability to define a project, to in order to put into practice strategies to realize one's own ideals. And last but not least, the importance of soft skills. And the first one is leadership, as Isotta outlined. That's why we have to empower women, because empowered women can be real agents of change.
Thanks, Elena. It's interesting to see how there are many similarities between the two countries, but there are also differences. So for instance, you mentioned legislative change that helped to increase representation of women on boards, on company boards, while that remains an ongoing issue, for instance, in Malta. So it's always interesting to hear from other countries and see how they've been addressing the issue, and sort of how policy and legislation can also be of support in terms of closing the gender equality gap. I'm going to share with you some quotes from the focus groups that we've already held, and I will be giving you a little bit more information in terms of this activity a little bit later when I go over all of the project activities. But I really wanted to share these quotes with you because I think they put they give a bit of context to all of the data, all of the figures that we've been looking at in the past 20 minutes, half an hour or so. So this is a quote by one of our potential mentors in the program, who is mentioning how the role of the woman in the family is often a caring role. And there is an issue with women themselves when they receive, for instance, a promotion, believing that they should think twice, so actually doubting themselves. And this participant compared this situation of a man who instead receives a promotion or accepts a job, who first accepts the offer and then thinks, well, actually doesn't even think about the housework because he knows that it will be okay. While instead the first reaction of a woman is normally saying, can I do this? Can I manage this? So again, linking back to that difficult balance between career and family and care. again, well, balancing is the first word in this quote. So very much, again, the difficulty about balancing different areas of life. But this person is actually talking about the support that they received from their husband, as well as the struggles that they experienced in terms of having certain ambitions, acknowledging those ambitions, but also being more self-confident and developing their own leadership capacity. And this was from a focus group with potential mentees on the program. This is a quote about the Maltese context. So we see how there's an acknowledgement that there have been improvements, that there are more women, for instance, who are involved in startups, but there's still that gap when it comes to representation in big companies, on company boards, as I was mentioning earlier. However, this participant also acknowledged that there is a lack of mentors, and this also affects representation of women in leadership. And finally, this is a quote about mindset, which was actually recurrent in the focus groups that we ran, because many of our participants stated that actually mindset is one of the biggest barriers. So overcoming those fears, which very much are very much linked to many of the social barriers and social expectations and gender norms that women themselves may have internalized. And so actually breaking free from those and erasing fears, as this participant highlighted, is perhaps the first step, and is most certainly one of the most important steps to take in terms of actually stepping forward in one's career and reaching leadership positions, or achieving one's objectives more generally. How long will it take us to close the gender equality gap? Based on existing data, it's going to take us 132 years, which is a really long time. So we decided we would start right now with a very concrete initiative, which is the ASTRA project. We've already mentioned what it's about. Its core idea is to empower women to promote their self-worth, their ability to determine their own choices, their right to influence social change for themselves and other people, which we've seen are key priorities based on what all of the international data is telling us, but also based on what people in our national contexts in Malta and Italy are telling us. And these are people who are involved, who are experts in their own field and have been, in many cases, in the case of mentors who participated in our focus group, worked in their fields for a very long time. So they've seen a lot of comings and goings, and they've witnessed firsthand what the gender equality gap looks like in employment. And so through this project, we're actually implementing a mentoring program, and we've decided the core of the project is mentoring, because as one participant stated, there is a lack of mentors, and this often prevents women from stepping up in their careers. There is a lack of that kind of guidance who might support them in making sense of what is going on in their lives, supporting them in sometimes making those difficult decisions, or hearing from others how they did it. And so for us, this is very much in line with our priority to empower women, because we see mentoring as a tool for empowerment. In terms of the project itself and how we structured it, it's a 12-month project. It's already started. We have 3 partners and we've already talked about them. These are the kind of main goals. So again, it's targeting primarily in terms of beneficiaries of the mentoring program. We're targeting primarily women who are early career or mid-career professionals from Italy and Malta. But as I will show later in a slide that looks at our project beneficiaries specifically, our target group specifically, they might just reside in Italy and Malta. They don't need necessarily to be Italian or Maltese. We're very much opening to welcoming many different nationalities on our program. These are the specific objectives to make it a little bit more tangible. We're designing and rolling out an innovative training and mentoring program. So there's also a training element, and I can probably spend a couple more words to tell you about this in a moment. We're looking at supporting participants via targeted gender-informed mentoring, and we also have some targeted awareness raising and communication activities. These are our target groups. So as I was mentioning, we're looking at entry and mid-level female professionals. We will welcoming women of all ages. We've just decided that the baseline would be 20 years of age, but there is no limit in terms of age other than that one. We're welcoming many different nationalities. Again, the only requirement is that they reside in Italy or Malta, and it does not matter which sector they work in. In terms of mentors, we're looking at men and women, so both genders with significant experience in the corporate or nonprofit world. So we've set the target at 40 people across the two groups. This is our timeline, and so you can see the activities that we've already completed in green. There's a little bit of cheating because the multiplier event is this event, so it's not technically a completed activity, but it will be soon enough. As I was mentioning earlier, we conducted focus groups, and this was the needs assessment phase. So the second activity, the first one is just ongoing project management and communication. Focus groups were our second activity. We've called them needs assessments because this was the objective of the focus groups. The aim was actually understanding what potential mentors and mentees needs are in terms for mentees, in terms of the kind of support they would like to receive, for mentors in terms of their availability, in terms of what they too would like to get out of the program, because there's something in it for mentors as well, not just for mentees, and also very practically in terms of what sort of arrangements would work best for them. The multiplier event we're holding right now, and the aim of this event is obviously to reach out to more people, to spread the word, but also to recruit potential mentors and mentees, because we've already received applications. And of course, through our focus groups, we've already reached many people who are interested in joining the program, but there are still spaces available. So this is very much an opportunity for anybody here to learn about the project and either apply themselves or inform their friends, their acquaintances about it, and encourage them to apply. We're also in the phase of developing training modules and recruiting participants. As I said, we've already recruited some, but we're also still in the process of recruiting, and we will be holding short interviews with people who we haven't met already, because we want to make sure that they are committed to joining the program. Training modules are being developed right now. We have a couple of activities that I'm not going to go into too much because they're more related to the sort of management side of things, such as a joint staff training. We have a pilot testing of the modules, but then there will be program implementation. So program implementation is going to start off in November. So the yellow activities here at the top and the two first red ones are going to take place between now and November. And then we will kick off the program, which is a training and mentoring program, which is going to last 6 months starting in November. We'll start off with training and then we'll proceed with the mentoring. It's a 6-month program. It's primarily online. In fact, all of the training will take place online, and the training will cover a range of different topics, which we had already sort of decided upon at project application phase, but were also refined thanks to the focus groups that we ran earlier on in August, because we actually specifically asked people what kind of topics they were interested in receiving training in. So these include, for instance, intercultural communication, they include budgeting, they include conflict management, and so on. So there are a range of modules, all adding up to approximately 10 hours of learning for mentees, and a sort of shorter training for mentors, which is is going to be highly interactive and offering the opportunity for mentors to learn from each other, because this is what the mentors we talked to in our focus groups highlighted as a need for them. It's going to be one-on-one mentoring taking place primarily online, although we do not exclude the possibility that people who are based in the same country may actually meet face-to-face. Some people have told us, including mentors in particular, have told us that they would really like to meet their mentees face-to-face, especially at the start of the program. And so we've acknowledged this. However, this was not envisaged initially when we developed the project, but it is absolutely up to the people involved to do so if they see fit. And the matching, of course, between mentors and mentees is going to be one-on-one. So they will be meeting online, and we've set a minimum number of meetings, but then these can be tweaked based on the needs of the people involved. And we also have envisaged group sessions, so sessions where all the mentors can come together and have a chat and see how it's going. All the mentees can come together, and perhaps if we manage with time, we can also have a joint session or a couple of joint sessions, because that will depend on numbers between both mentors and mentees. As I said, we're still on the search for some participants, although we've recruited many of them. We're looking for experienced individuals living in Italy and Malta who want to act as mentors, but we're especially looking for mentees, because we're still missing many mentees to reach our target. And so just a reminder here of who qualifies as a mentee in our project, which is just women aged 20 or more who are living in Italy and Malta. There is no nationality requirement whatsoever, and are keen to participate in the program. So if you know of anybody who might be interested, well, this is the time to reach out to them. And we wanted to share some testimonials with you, because initially this project was born in Malta, and then thanks to European funding, we managed to make it grow and extend it to Italy. But Martina was a mentee on the project, on the Malta project. And so unfortunately, she couldn't be here today, but we wanted to share with you her experience. And so this is sort of what she decided to say about her experience being a mentee on the ASTRA project. And I think I can just leave it to you to read, because I don't really feel comfortable reading it myself. But you can see that it was extremely beneficial to her, and she would recommend it, especially for people who feel stuck, overwhelmed, and would like to take their business and their career to the next level. I'm just going to leave you a couple of seconds to read the testimonial before I move on. Okay, and I will briefly stop sharing because we have other testimonials, and these testimonials are here physically present online with us today. So we have mentors from the previous program, and Elida, perhaps you can help me out in terms of who we should call to the virtual stage next, so that they can share their experience. So we have Joe Tanti. Can I invite you to?
Hello.
Thank you.
I'm here. Very good. So, first of all, thank you very much for the presentation, Isotta. That was really, really informative. Actually, am I being heard well?
Yes.
Okay, very good, because sometimes to avoid any echoing when you're in a room. So let me start by, first of all, thanking the project team for inviting me to this project, first of all, and also to share my experience as a mentor within this Multiplier event. I think to pick up some of you know, in the previous presentations, but particularly yours, Isotta, is if we want real change on the ground, real good change on the ground, we need more women, more competent women in senior management, and also in running organizations, both as a non-profit and also in the corporate world. So here I am, because I have, you know, it's easy to talk about empowering, but we need we need to roll up our sleeves and do something ourselves, and that's what I feel, you know, to be contributing within this project myself. It's interesting. I picked up something from Elena Dall'Amico when she was saying the domination of men, but I am here, and thanks, I am happy that I'm seeing Julian, because I think we're the only man in this room. So so that is, as we say, we taste a little bit of our own medicine, and it shows what it is when it's the other way around in certain businesses, especially in certain boards. And I've seen this. I've been in boards with senior boards of say 14 men and one woman inside there. So and that's my feeling here. So it's good that this is happening, because you know, you realize how much what that feels in that perspective. I mean, I think I'm not going to do a sales pitch here, but I think it's very important that I highly recommend this program, and hats off to the project partners and to the team behind it for what they have managed to put together here. And I think, you know, my personal opinion as a mentor, and again, I'm sharing this not only with my experience at this stage of mentoring others, but also I was mentored myself throughout my career, and also in the business world. So having someone, the definition that I give to this is having someone to turn to that can help make life at the top, or in whatever you're doing, or in your career, a little easier, is important. Especially if we take, for example, take COVID times, you know, those uncertain times. Just position yourself how many people were throughout their career development or starting a business. So personally, I have seen great value as a mentor in these difficult times, and the great benefits that can bring in this regard. So it is great to be able to talk through the challenges your business, for instance, is facing with someone who has been there and done it, you know, and to help you find a way forward. So, okay, I'm relating to a business, but also in terms of your career. If you are mentoring someone who is talking about the challenges, take a woman, because the balance between family and working life. So the challenge is how to get there at the top. It's good to talk, you know, with someone who's been there and the challenges that he has managed to overcome. Just sharing, to be on the practical, I had this beautiful experience with an ASTRA mentee. So, you know, I'm not relating to the different experience that mentoring has given me personally as a satisfaction, but also I'm relating an experience which happened not more than a year ago. So it's good for all the participants in the room, which, by the way, I am very amazed to see so much good participation, and this augurs well for this project, and well done again to the partners here. I remember when they matched me with this dynamic woman, but also she wanted to build up an eco market platform. and which looks into inspiring towards a more sustainable life out there. As you know, we have to work harder on sustainability. So the objective of the mentorship program between me as a mentor and herself as a mentee was very specific. So, you know, we set targets in ourselves, and this practically, she was asking the support, my help in creating a multi-vendor e-commerce platform, so which features exclusively eco-friendly and sustainable products and services. But not to be long into this one, our mentorship program focus, in a sense, on especially areas like financial projections, which are very important. So identifying how much it is all going to cost, you know, if you're building up this platform, and the sales forecast. And so that ensures that the project remains profitable. Building the team, because it's very critical. We should not focus on the year 1 or year 2, but even we should have a vision for the subsequent year. So understanding how many employees will come on board, learning how to divide the tasks and delegate and so forth, and marketing and advertising, exploring EU funds and grants that may be relative to this project, particularly with the upcoming EU Green Deal. That's to give an example, because it was a mentor-mentee relationship from developing a business idea. But you know what I said here, it's not only for business ideas. As I said earlier, it could be for the career development, seeking a senior management position and be able to manage that department in a corporate well. So they would still apply what we had referred. Now, my last few words. What do I enjoy mostly about mentoring, and why I'm here? Throughout my working experience, I'm always a strong believer that whatever we do, it's always built up on the beauty and the talent of people, and the fact of bringing the best of these people, whether you know it's in an organization, it's in a business world, whether it's a non-profit organization. So personally, I take great pride in helping others to develop and grow, because, and I finish with these words, when we grow others, we grow ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
Joe.
much. Thank you, Joe. Just for the benefit, I know locally you were very well known. I don't think you need an introduction, but for the benefit also of our Italian colleagues, Joe is the CEO of the Malta Business Bureau. So he's also a very busy man, I must say, with a lot of experience. So we really do value your participation in this project. And especially, I liked what you said in the end. So when we help others grow, we grow ourselves, because when we first did the research for this project, the research supported that idea, you know, that the mentors also benefited from the relationship. But it's really nice to hear it, you know, from the horse's mouth. So thank you so much, Joe, for your participation. And we really need more men like Joe if we want to promote gender equality across the globe, because gender equality is not just for women. Tell them, Joe.
Thank you, Roberta, for your kind words, and well done to all.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Joe. I'm going to pass on to Catherine now, who I see has already activated her camera.
Thank you, Zata. Thanks, everybody. Yeah, just to add on to what Joe has said, I mean, he's covered most of the points. My background is in energy, power generation. I build power stations, and I've worked in construction as well. I've run companies. I've been at executive level for 10, 15 years in major companies and in smaller companies. So a good mix. So I did the mentoring last time round with Roberta, and it was exactly that. Like my mentee and I got on so well that we are still to this date friends, and I'm meeting her for a cup of coffee next week, because it just kind of evolved into that kind of a situation. We were brilliantly matched. She learned a lot, I learned a lot. She challenged me, made me walk the talk a little bit as well, because it's very easy to tell other people what you're hearing them say, but also then you need to look in the mirror. So I found the process really useful. I think she would say the same, I hope. And I just encourage anybody who's listening, you know, if you're thinking about it, make the time. It's worth the time. You're worth the time. Your career is worth the time. If it's not working out, I think the format this time, where we have maybe some shares, some group sessions and stuff, you know, you will find your groove. Yeah, and for me, it's just really worth giving it a go, and you're worth developing. So that's it from me.
Thank you so much, Catherine. I really appreciated your participation as well, because I know how busy you are. I know how demanding as well your career is. So really to find the time and to actually, but we can see also from your smile that you're genuine when you say that, you know, you learned a lot yourself and she challenged you, and it was a positive experience also for you. So I'm so happy to hear this. Thank you very, very much.
Thanks, Catherine. I'm feeling very motivated now. And I'm sure Martina, who is next, is going to boost my motivation a little bit more, and in one of everybody here. Martina, can I ask you to turn on your video, please?
Yes. Oh, it's not letting me. 1 second.
No problem.
It says, okay, surface camera front, start video. Yeah, it says my host has stopped my video. Can you unstop me? Okay,
yes.
Brilliant. Now you can see me. Good afternoon, everybody. And it's a real pleasure to be here. Thank you also for the presentations. I thought there's always useful information you can get from every slide, new statistics, new data. So I was a mentor last time. And just like Catherine mentioned, and Joe, I think it is so rewarding to be able to give back to others what actually, in a way, through my career, I have received myself. My background is in technology. So I was I've been in tech for the last 35 years. And I have had tremendous support from my mentors in terms of, growing my career. I think I read today that for STEM, there is, such a low participation rate, and for technology careers as well, super low. And I'm surprised that after 20, years, where I would have thought, when I was a junior manager to now, that, things would have advanced. They haven't advanced fast enough. And I always take such, it's such a pity to see that we have not developed our young female workforce to take on stronger leadership positions. So I believe, as Joe said, to give back. I think there's so much potential out there. We have to develop it. It is so rewarding to be able to help others. Again, we can help in many ways. It's so difficult to balance work with home. It is so difficult sometimes to balance being in a male-dominated field and knowing how to behave and how to come across, that mentoring takes on all aspects, whether it's a technical issue that they have, or a personal issue, or also a career development issue. So thank you for this. I tell you, it's a wonderful program, and happy to help out and ask questions as required.
Thank you, Martina. Thank you so much. Again, I mean, my reaction to Catherine's testimony as well. I'm just so grateful for you all finding the time to do this, because I know how busy you are, and yet the fact that you commit the time to, help others, empower others to move forward, and because also how much that has helped you in your progression in your career. I think that's really nice. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. So we were supposed to go on a break, but we still have some time before the break. Perhaps we could use it for questions if anybody here.
If I may, Isotta,
Please.
we can take some questions, but in the meantime, I've also seen that Julian has joined us
Yes.
from Core Platform. So perhaps if he would also say a couple of words, since he wasn't here earlier on.
Hi, hello everyone. Can you hear me?
We can.
Yes, very well. So I've listened very attentively to what Joe and all the other mentors have shared, and even though I haven't been involved previously, I have my own business, so I do tend to mentor my employees, and it's very rewarding when you try to teach someone, try to share your experience, but then you get a lot back from what these people give to you. So recently I've hired a Moroccan guy, and even if I've been in ship 22, but his approach was totally different. Whilst we tend to go only for the local market, he immediately, because he is fluent in French, contacted companies in France. I would never dream of telling someone starting to do, but it worked out. So, I mean, you get, between mentors and mentees, you get a lot of different ideas, a lot of different concepts, and all learn and gain from each other. Apart from that, you are as good as your network. So I encourage mentees to enlarge their network, get to know more people involved in things, and like that you learn every day. Good luck to everyone.
Thank you, Joe, and also thank you to you and Helga, Lul, and Core Platform for believing in this project and for being such a valuable partner as well in this project and in other projects, because even to achieve certain goals, I think at the organizational level, it's so important that we work together. So not just at the individual level, but also at the organizational level. So I really value the opportunity to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, shall we take some questions, perhaps, if anybody has any, even concerning either for one of our speakers or one or more of our speakers who are still here with us, or for us in terms of the program, the practicalities, in case there are some outstanding doubts. Please feel free to raise your hands and we will take questions, or if you want, you can also write the questions in the chat. So I see Elena has her hand up.
Just to break ice, I would ask, it has been very interesting what both mentors and mentees have told us. So I would ask, after the mentoring process, I mean, when the program is over, have you remained in contact between mentors and mentees? Because what you have said is very strong. I mean, you have spoken about a mutual learning, but it seems that quite a friendship relationship is born. And so I would just ask you if you are still in contact. Thank you.
I think Catherine said she's still in contact, definitely, with her mentee. I'm not sure if she's still here, but she did say she was meeting her next week for a coffee. I don't know about the other mentors, to be honest.
Catherine had to leave because she had another meeting, but she did say that indeed. I don't know if Joe or Martina want to chip in.
My mentee moved away for quite a long time, so we couldn't meet in person, but we kept meeting for the longest time, and we preferred to meet in person where possible, because it was a deeper, It was a kind of a deeper relationship where you could have a coffee and talk about, you know, the challenges of her business and how she wanted to grow it. But we certainly extended our meetings long beyond the 6 months of the program. So yes, absolutely. And that's one of the benefits is you extend your peer network and you extend your contacts. And also we managed to help her business out by bringing in more contacts and relationships for her. So yes, it builds a long-term relationship.
Yes. Same here, similar to Martina, you know, it's in relation to the experience that I was mentioning earlier, it continued. And in fact, so as Martina was saying, so not only in those 6 months, in fact, she had asked me right away, I remember, if, you know, we can continue after those 6 months, because at the time that we had started this was in the middle of the worst months, COVID, you know, and you know, God bless her, she's doing extremely very well. And you know, you follow her, I follow her as well on what she's doing, because she's very strong. And even in terms of the appreciation, because there's the invitations to events that she is doing. So it's not, and I think Martina made a reference as well here. So even from a mentee perspective, you appreciate it's not that you took sort of the knowledge from myself and it stops there. She wanted to continue it herself. And again, and I use some of the words by Catherine. I wish that she was here. You learn a lot. I mean, it's not only the satisfaction that you see others grow, you really learn. You really learn as well. As if it's irrelevant how much experience you've got. So this thing is this partnership, but immediately, and I'm seeing Roberta here, I remember in our first discussions about this program, it has to be a sincere relationship in that perspective. So the trust has to grow. The trust has to grow. And there's an element of friendship as well, which stays into it. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you very much. Any other questions, perhaps, before we take a little break and then come back for the networking session?
So I just received a question via direct message concerning the time scheduling of training sessions. Elena, perhaps you can tell me a little bit more, because I'm not entirely sure what
some potential mentees are a bit worried about the initial training modules, because they would like to know in which hours they will be delivered, because they are afraid that they cannot attend because of working duties. So if you already have an idea on these aspects.
Yes, we're currently finalizing the schedule. So we're going to circulate this information in the next few days. I think there was an attempt, particularly for the mentors sessions, to have them a bit later on in the day so that they would be able to attend. But what we're going to do as well is we're going to send out the information, and we're also holding pilots for the training, and we're holding them at the same times that we will have the training, and we'll see how that works out and get some feedback about that from people who participate in the pilot. However, we will be circulating this information in the next few days. So, and I think there's also, it's worth saying, Roberta, correct me if I'm wrong, that if somebody can't make a particular session, it will be recorded and they can also watch it afterwards.
That's correct. That's also the format we had used for our initial round for the national project. And we found it's, gives us the best of both worlds. So there's the live interaction for those who prefer it, but then because we do understand that people have different schedules, so we wanted to be as inclusive and as flexible as possible to allow as many people to participate as possible. So yes, we'll use the same format.
Thank you.
If there aren't any further questions, perhaps it's worth saying that for the purpose of applications, for anybody who's interested in participating in the program and sending in their application as mentor or mentee, we've shared information about how to do it on our social media pages. So the social media pages of project partners, including, of course, Weave Consulting as lead partner, but information is also available on partners' social media pages. However, if you have not seen this information, please get in touch with us, and we will be sharing also our social media pages and contacts in the chat in the next few minutes, so that it's a little bit easier for you and you don't have to go hunting for information. I think we can have a short break now. We're bang on time. Please do stay on, because the next part of this event involves some speed networking. And we have here in this virtual room many potential mentors and hopefully many potential mentees too. I'm sure we have many potential mentors, but hopefully we have many potential mentees as well. And this is an excellent opportunity to actually get a taste of what it could be like and interact with a potential mentor who knows, might be the mentor you might be matched with, and the other way around as well. So please do stay on. And as we've already mentioned, we will be ending the live section of this event now, so you don't have to be shy. You can have very private conversations and they won't be divulged on social media. So we will reconvene again at 5:45, if I'm not mistaken. So in 15 minutes. Thank you very much for your participation, and we look forward to welcoming you very soon.
See you soon.